So welcome everybody to Deepvue platform walkthrough. We're going to cover pretty much every feature that we have and module that's currently in the platform, and try to answer as many questions as possible and get you guys up to speed as quickly as possible, so you guys can get the most out of Deepvue. So we're going to cover the screener module and or filtering, data columns, data panel, stats table, all of that in the screener module, then move on to deep list alerts, and a little bit of everything as well, covering proprietary indicators and all the unique features that Deepvue has to offer. To start with, we've currently got the screener module loaded up here. Rye, can you just kind of orient everybody, where can they navigate to the screener module? What's the overall layout of Deepvue?
Yeah, so the overall layout of Deepvue at the very top and across all modules is kind of your navigation menu for that particular module. And then on the left here, you have the different modules that you could access. So we have Screener, Deep List, which includes alerts. We have alert notifications that show up if you click this. And then your account settings, where you could go to your account settings, switch up the theme to dark mode, and then the full help menu where you can access our roadmap, news, message it, message the support, and access knowledge base, report bugs, etc. So that's kind of the help menu here. So to the left side, you have your navigation of different modules. You could expand this to see the actual what the symbols stand for, or you could hide it just to create a little more space for yourself. And when you hover over it, you'll see the tooltips as to what each of these are. At the very top, so now that we're in the screener module, some of the features right away is you can search for any symbol, right? So any symbol that comes to mind, you could either click this or you can start typing. So if I want to type, for example, Apple, I can start typing, press enter. It's going to load up Apple, and it's going to load up Apple in the screener table as well. And that's kind of the functionality. We have global search. Anywhere in the application where you start typing all of a sudden, it's going to start to search for that particular symbol, so that you have access to any symbol that comes to mind almost right away. The second, the navigation item at the very top here is how you access your screens. So under your My Screens, you have two kind of things that you will see. You have saved screens. These are screens that you create for yourself. We will create a screen in a few moments here. And you could search, within those. You could create folders. You can nest them into folders. Mine aren't in folders because I do a lot of testing with this particular account. And the second portion of the My Screens dropdown is the screener presets. The screener presets is what a lot of people tend to use or tend to duplicate and make their own in Deepvue. And we have hundreds and hundreds of screener presets we have at the moment, and more that we're adding every single week to the platform. Within the screener presets, we have the industry groups, the technical screens that we've pre-built for you. For example, relative strength new highs, the markets. If you want to look at S&P, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, you're one click away from those. We have a few fundamental screens that we've pre-built. We have kind of proprietary rating systems within Deepvue, which we nest under the Deepvue folder. I really like the the power and tightening one that we've come up with recently with the RMV indicator. And then the last one, and this will be ever growing, is the top traders and their scans. So all the master classes that we did, in Trader Lion with the swing trading masterclass, IPO masterclass, Stan Weinstein's stage analysis masterclass, we're taking all of what we learned from those different traders and the scans that they use, and kind of building them for you so that you could access them right away as well. So we have Mike Webster, Oliver Kell, Minervini scans, Ben Bennett, Kwalamagi, and Ross as well. And this is something that we're going to continue to add to as much as possible. And then later on in December is when we're going to launch what we're calling verified presets. And verified presets mean basically we'll have a verified badge next to every screen. So if Oliver has come in and he's taken a look at the gappers, we work with him one-on-one, he's approved it, then we will add a verified badge. That's how users will know that this is the exact screen that Oliver's using, or this is the exact screen Kwalamagi or Leif Serede or Mike Webster, and any number of traders that we will be working with over the next couple of weeks, months, and years.
And to jump in here, a few other things about the screener presets. If you go back to Deepvue or whatever, over on the right hand side, go back to Deepvue, screener presets, Deepvue. Where are you going here?
Deepvue right here.
Yep. Over to the right hand side, you can see 3 dots. If you click that, that's how you'll duplicate it and allow you to create an editable version. So the presets themselves, they're locked in stone, but you can go over here, duplicate it. You'll save a version to your own system, and then you can go ahead and edit the criteria, add filters, take them away. And the purpose of these presets is kind of twofold. The first is to come up with a very strong, source of screens that can get you up and running very quickly, based on what Oliver uses, Minervini, Leif Serede, they've all got screens in there. But the second way that you can use these presets is kind of as inspiration to create your own. So you can take these and use them as the foundation of your screen, and then add your own tweaks, add filters to be more restrictive, make individual filters more restrictive as well, or even take some away if you'd like to. So that's kind of 2 different ways you can use the presets. Definitely highly recommend checking them out. There's a lot of great ideation here that you can get out of. And also, if you go back to that menu, Rye, if you look over to the left of each name, you can see that there's a star icon next to each of those screens. If you do select that star icon in your Deepvue, it will automatically set up that screen as a deep list in your deep list module. And that basically creates a watch list that automatically provides the live updated results from that screen right to your deep list module. So you can kind of review the ideas there and kind of have a very natural flow during your routines, whether that's on the weekend or after hours, of going through lists of screen results, adding, subtracting to different deep lists. So that's a really cool feature that can help you save a lot of time during your routines. So that's pretty much it up there. Then we'll get into creating a new screen and editing a screen in just a second. But first, I do want to get you guys set up with the data column. So Ryan, I'm going to request remote control here.
Yep.
There you go. And we'll kind of walk through first the data columns and then the data panel here. So let's see when you get that here. So I can control, perfect. So let's see here. Okay, so in order to basically edit the data columns, which is this table over here on the left-hand side, what you want to do is go over to the gear icon here, and this opens up the column settings menu, which pops out from the right. By default, you'll have the recommended column set loaded right here, and you can see that these columns ranked vertically here are the column headers that you have over here on the left-hand side. And this functionality of finding different data points, and you can add any data point that we have in our system to your data column set, is very similar to how you also will create a screen and that type of thing. So you can either search for a particular data point, or you can go through the different folders. And basically what you want to do, if we want to add the sales growth, we'll scroll down here to the sales growth, and you can do estimates, all of this sales growth latest. We'll go ahead and check that box, and it's automatically added to the top. It automatically adds it to the left-hand side here. So it kind of, updates live for you. And that's very simply how you go ahead and add different data points to your data column. I personally like to have very actionable data points over here on the left-hand side, so I can maximize my chart space as I'm going through different stocks. So I like to have percent change today, percent change from the open, daily closing range, volume as well, volume run rate. So let's go ahead and search relative volume, because that's a good data point here. So relative volume in Deepvue is basically, it's a representation at that instant, that time of day, how volume is coming in relative to normal. So we've got 2 different data points for you. One is a percentage-based data point. The other is a factor. A run rate is basically a percentage of, how is volume compared to normal. If volume at that time instant, whether it's 9:35 or 1 p.m., is running twice as high as normal. The volume run rate will be 200%, and the relative volume, which is the factor, will be 2.0. So there's kind of two different ways to represent the same data point. But like with the sales growth, if you want to add this to your data column set, all you have to do is click that, and there you go. It's now added over here on the left-hand side. Up here on the top, you can reorganize your data column sets, either have a little bit more space between the rows, or have it a little bit more condensed, whatever you would like here, depending on how much data you want to see at any given time. The recommended set will save automatically, but you can also go ahead and if you click this drop-down menu, create a new column set. And I know people have different column sets for an ETF watch list, a focus list, deep list, whatever it is. You can link it with a particular column set that helps navigate that deep list or screen result that's that much faster. And Xing this out, I saw a question come through, which is really good. Are column sizes adjustable? They are. You basically just want to go up to that column header and basically expand it to the left and right. It's small on my screen. Yeah, it's small on my screen. Sorry. To the left and right. And
I got it.
Yeah.
So it's basically all of them are adjustable, and the other thing is they're all saved to the server level. So if you want to squish all of these and you refresh the page, all the column sizes will be saved to that particular column set. So when you load that column set anywhere in Deepvue, whether it's the deep list module or the screener module or the dashboard that's coming out, the column sizes will be preserved and exactly what you saved in the first place. So
yeah. And I saw a question about what does clicking the columns do? Basically what that does is allows you to sort your deep list or your screen result, in this case, either highest to lowest, lowest to smallest, or it cancels out the screen. So your first click will sort it lowest to highest, then the second click will do highest to lowest, and then a third click will cancel out the sorting of your deep list. And you can also, at any time, if you, for instance, sort by run rate here, you can also always cancel out a sort by clicking this icon right here, this red icon. So that cancels out the sort and goes it back to alphabetical, which is the default. In addition, we have multi-sort capabilities here in the Deepvue platform, which allows you to sort by one column, then sort within that sort by another column. So in order to show this off, let's go ahead back to the column settings, and let's go ahead and type in industry and add the industry to the first column here. This gives us a nice discrete column, which allows to really show this off. So say you want to sort your column by industry. This will rank each of them together. So you can see the biotech stocks all together, coal stocks together, all of the groups are together. Then within that industry group, let's say we want to look for absolute strength 3-month and rank by that. You'll notice if we click it again, that now within that group, we're sorting from highest to lowest by that second column. So the first group kind of is that discrete column where stuff is split up into different buckets. And then within those buckets, that second sort provides a secondary way to view those results and organize things. So this is really helpful in identifying the strongest stocks in a group. I like to sort by the industry group and then either sort by absolute strength, like we see right here, volume run rate. I like to sort by RMV, which is basically price tightness. I also use that. So it's a really nice way to organize your ideas as you're going through a lot of stocks on the weekends or after hours and completing your routines. Also, I do want to point out that with the data columns, we have a lot of unique kind of visuals for you that are kind of designed to not just have, this huge block of text and data and whatever that's hard to interpret, but for instance, with volume, next to the volume number, we have the last 5 bars of volume there for you. So even without, looking at the chart, you can see whether a stock has had a really huge spike in volume recently. And we also have this for daily closing range, where we actually show a bar and show what the closing range is, today, or if it's a weekly closing range on the week. So there's a lot of cool visualizations built into Deepvue that allow you to not just have this huge block of block of data, but basically enhance your ability to interpret things. So Ryan, anything I forgot to mention when it comes to data columns or sorting that you find really useful about the platform?
Maybe we could just show off some of the data points. I'm not sure if you did that,
Yeah,
but
go
we
ahead.
have many different sections. We have our own proprietary ratings that we're continuously adding, and then we have fundamentals, earnings, sales, and I think well over 500 to 600 unique data points in the platform. And by the end of this year, we will have our goal is to have one-to-one matching with MarketSmith at the very least, and then also go beyond that in terms of our fundamental capabilities as much as possible into the end of the year and our holiday update that's coming up.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're already surpassing them in many respects, but we'll be bringing in stuff like margins, fund data that's coming very soon, and I'm excited for that because that's definitely a useful data point to have in your toolkit. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, in terms of some of the other visualizations we have is, the most popular industry group lights up blue. So every time you run a scan, and let's say biotechnology is the most popular group or industry within this scan, then it's going to eliminate blue for that. So there are many visualizations that Nick is always working on to make things a little bit easier and faster for your decision making, and less, a more text-based or Excel type of look that we tend, traditional platforms tend to have as well. So in terms of other features within the, I did see a few questions. One of them right after, does double clicking auto size the column size similar to Excel? So the way we've done this is when you add a column, it auto adjusts to the width of what is, what data is contained within that column automatically. So the double click is really not needed in most instances, but you can go ahead and some people like to squish it. The industry, they like to just see the first word, and that's also possible. But when you add it, it also already auto sizes for you on the fly.
Yep. And just getting into the chart, I won't get too deep into it just because we've got some educational webinars completely focused on that. And this Thursday, actually, we'll be going through a full chart setup from the very start, a blank chart, to getting an indicator layout similar to this. But just to highlight a few things, we've got the relative strength line here. We've got your chart. We've got the enhanced volume proprietary indicator down here. And then down below here is where you can get the fundamentals. And I'm going to zoom in on your chart, Rye, because it's impossible for me to see here. There we go. Okay. So now that that's better here, in order to add an indicator, what you want to do is basically click this icon up here. This will bring you to the long list of different indicators that you can add, pretty much anything that you would want. And if you type in DV up here, you'll see all the proprietary indicators that we've developed and brought into the platform. So enhanced volume basically highlights, different high volume moves. You can see that applied here. RMV is a way to identify tight areas and VCP patterns. Relative strength line, I know many of you are familiar with. Webster EMA clouds, stage analysis, incorporating the different stages from Stan Weinstein. Technical patterns highlights different pattern recognition, entry tactics like patterns, definitely a highly useful thing to help you identify entry points. Up-down volume ratio, identifying accumulation. Then we've got a number of Mike Webster's indicators from RSI 2.0, his RS line, off high, as well as many others. And definitely highly recommend checking these out, seeing if they help your process. And definitely we'll be working on many different ones that can complement a lot of people's styles and add to their trading capabilities. So highly recommend checking out the Deepvue indicators. And I saw something about the scaling when it comes to the relative strength line. If you do add it to your chart, it will auto scale the value with the price chart. So if this value, which that doesn't necessarily mean anything, it's just a ratio, is a lot bigger than your stock chart, what you want to do is either go over to the indicator in the object tree, click these three dots, and move to a new pane above, or you can also pin it to a new scale. That would kind of accomplish the same thing. And that's a way to basically unscale it here. So that's pretty much all we want to cover when it comes to chart setup. We've got a resource there for you already that's located in Deepvue webinars. So if you go down here to the help desk, you can visit the knowledge base, which has a lot of educational webinars as well as articles there for you. And then if you click this as well, you'll get all the different educational webinars that we do weekly. All the different recordings are posted there. And there's a couple on chart setup. And like I said, there'll be a whole tutorial on chart setup this coming up a Thursday, and maybe we'll share that with the whole list as well. So that's pretty much all we want to cover when it comes to the chart setup. Definitely high recommend.
Go
ahead.
One small thing. The question that Isaac had was how do you move relative strength to a different pane? All you have to do is move to a new pane below, and the indicator will now move. And then all of these panes are flexible. So if I want to make my relative strength really narrow, or I want to make it this big, it's a fully flexible kind of layout where you can have them the way I have them. And then I like to do this where existing pane above, and then now I can turn on my stage analysis. Now I have stage analysis in the background, and I have my relative strength line overlaid. So this stock is in early stage 2A. And I'm assuming when it goes through this pivot, right, it's going to go into a stage 2. So that's how I like to organize it. A few other things. There's these features that you see here. The charting software that we're using,
The engine,
is TradingView, or the engine is TradingView. So a lot of you that are coming over from TradingView, this is exactly kind of the same, functionality of how you move things around, how you draw stuff, etc. throughout our charting module as well. So there should be a lot of familiarity with folks, especially those coming from TradingView.
Yeah, and also one more thing that I want to mention is along with that, you can have multi-time frame charts here. You can add a daily chart over here, a 65-minute chart. You basically need to click into the chart you want to edit the time frame of, go over here and switch that over to a 65-minute. And I get this question a lot. If you're in this menu and you want your symbol to link both on different charts, make sure symbol is linked to sync in layout. That way, as you spacebar through a list or a screen, these will change and adapt together. Also, this is a really cool feature that we've implemented, the multi-chart view. This allows you to basically view your watch list and have it see many multi-charts together and really quickly go through different screen results as well as watch lists. So definitely highly recommend checking out that view as well. It can save you a lot of time during your routines. Also, I want to cover the stats table quickly in the data panel here. So down here is where we've got our earnings and sales data. You can hover over any of these data points and see the estimate, the surprise numbers, both for earnings and sales. There's not many platforms that allow you to see this, as well as with these nice visuals. And we've got a large number of estimates going forward. And we all know that the market is really looking forward. It's really trading on what these estimates are rather than the existing numbers. So having this for you in Deepvue is really a game changer and gives you an edge versus different platforms that only report the most recent 4 quarters or maybe one quarter in advance the estimates. So definitely check this out. We've also got different visualizations down here. For instance, this blue bar highlights acceleration and growth. So it's showing that trend is lasting at least 3 quarters, while if it was pink, it would highlight deceleration. And we've also got the estimate updates here, the arrows here for you. And likely in the future, you'll be able to hover over one of these arrows and see more in-depth details about the number of analysts, the revision, that type of thing, which can give you, a clear picture of those future estimates. Also going over here, you can basically view this on an annual basis as well. So you can, depending on your preference, you can switch back and forth between here, which is definitely super helpful. But Ryan, anything when it comes to the stats table that you really like in the platform?
Yeah, a couple of updates that are coming to the stats table is number of revisions, number of analysts that are actually doing the estimates. When the estimates were last updated, all these three kind of data points will be added to the stats table very shortly. So that's one thing that's coming here that will give you a little bit of insight. Is it just two analysts that are making these estimates, or is it 30 analysts? The more analysts, the better, because that they all have a strong opinion about that stock. And if they're all saying that they see future growth in a particular stock, then the price trend of that stock for that quarter and forward looking tends to be positive as well. So we will be adding those very shortly.
Yep. And in order to turn on the stats table, if it's off, you can click this icon right here. You can also turn it back on. Of course, I know some people are more technical and maybe during the day you want to have, maximum chart real estate. That's perfectly fine. You can close that off. But if you want to add it back, that's the button. And this is scrollable back and forth using that scroll bar. The next thing we want to cover is the data panel. So this is a really cool feature. It allows you to basically organize any data specific to the stock you're looking at, have it right at your fingertips, the most important data points for you. The data columns are kind of designed for looking at a whole list together, while this data panel is designed to go much more in depth into one single stock. So this is fully customizable. Just like the stats table, you can turn it on and off using this icon here next to the stats table icon. And this is scrollable up and down. If you have enough modules here, you can also view it in two different columns. So if you really want to go in depth here, you can add as many modules as you want here within the limits that we've set. And just like when you're creating a screen or editing your columns, in order to add a different data point, you can click this edit icon. This allows you to drag and drop to reorganize, X out different data points, edit the names of different sections here. They're fully editable. And in order to add a data point, you want to click this plus icon. And then it's as simple as checking off the data point that you want. And you've got all the data points, the hundreds of data points that we have in the platform there for you, both technical as well as fundamental base. So this data panel is super powerful. I think it's not used enough by a lot of people. And for instance, I have it set up so I've got a nice price and volume area that shows me closing ranges, relative volume, average ADR percentage, ATR percentage. Then I've got another that stacks the earnings growth and sales growth in two different modules here. So that's pretty much it with the data panel. Super easy to use. Rye, anything that you really like here that you think everybody should be aware of?
Yeah, I think the biggest point that we want to make here is the fact that it's flexible to your trading style. So it's not a static list that we give you. It's any data point that's available in the screener that is scannable is also available for you to put into your data panel. So if you're a fundamental trader, if you're a technical trader, if you're a price and volume trader, then you can go ahead and add those data points that are most important to you to the data panel. One update coming for the data panel in the next 2 to 3 weeks is going to be the ability to create and save different data panels themselves. So, for example, if I'm doing research on stocks, I can have a very particular data panel for those. But if I'm researching ETFs, most of the metrics may not apply to ETFs, so I can have a different data set within the data panel that I have for ETFs. Or if I'm looking at mutual funds in the future, when we add support for mutual funds, then you can have a different set of metrics for that. So that kind of support is coming to the data panel. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to add presets. So we're going to work with the top traders that you guys follow and know, and we're going to get a list of data points that are important to them. And you're going to have, for example, the Oliver Kell data panel, the one that, the data points that are most important to him when he's looking at individual stocks, for example. And we're going to go through the same thing we did with the screener presets. It's going to carry over to the data panel presets as well. Another one, you could organize through folders. You could search capabilities being improved, drag and drop within the data panels is also being improved. So there's a lot more that we're going to do to the data panel to make it fully flexible and exactly the way you want it. So
Yeah, and you can see a little bit more the different visualizations that we have, and these are both in the data columns as well as the data panel, which, you know, if you have the percent change, the DCR, volume, even without looking at a chart, you can get a pretty clear picture of what the stock's doing at any given time, which can help save you time and find ideas that much faster. You can visit the website. We've got that data pan there for you. This is clickable. We've got the next earnings dates, all of that there for you. So definitely pretty powerful feature. And I saw a question about the surprise data. Again, just if you hover over any quarter, that's based on the estimates from analysts going into that quarter, and you can then see, you know, if they beat estimates, you know, were reported less than estimates, all of that, both for earnings and sales growth. Sometimes the sales growth is really what matters with a lot of software companies. Sometimes it's more about earnings. So it's great that Deepvue provides both of those for you. All right, so let's go ahead and talk screening. Deepvue is super powerful in this respect. So let's go ahead and X out of this current screen. And in order to create a new screen in Deepvue, you click the new screen button. This opens up the create new screen pop-out. And this looks very familiar, as we just mentioned, to the data columns menu and all of that. You can either go through the folders, add different criteria, or you can search for things. So let's go ahead and create just a dummy screen. Let's do average volume. Let's do dollar volume there. Oh, can't spell. Dollar volume 20 day. Let's go here. When you click that, it brings you right to that filter here in Deepvue. You can see greater than, less than, or give a range. This is average volume. Dollar volume is down here. We'll switch this from 50 day to 20 day. And let's say that we want the liquidity to be at least 20 million. Let me count my zeros. There we go.
yeah, and this is something that is being improved in the next week, where instead of typing the 6 zeros, you will be able to type 20M, and it will pick up that you're saying 20 million, and if you type 20K, it's going to pick up 20K, 20B, 20 billion, etc. So that is coming in development already. So
yep, and in Deepvue, like I mentioned before, we've got both you know, fundamental data points, earnings, sales growth, industry rank, industry strength. We've also got a lot of price and volume data points. So relative volume, price percent change, average volume. Also, if you go down to technicals, we've got even more for you. Weekly closing range, up, down volume. You can search for gaps. I know I saw a question about gaps in pre-market. You can easily scan using this data point, both on a dollar basis as well as percent basis, the gap from yesterday's close to the current open, beta, highest volume ever. These are good edges, and we've got a lot of candlestick patterns, and we'll be adding to this as well. Inside bars, inside weeks, 3 weeks tight, all these different patterns that can help you identify, you know, nice entry points, and as well as, you know, a bunch more different patterns, technical patterns, pocket pivots, launch pad, a bunch of different edges that we've developed, and a lot of traders that you know, we follow and you know, have developed these different setups. We've included that in the platform for you guys to easily access. So there's a lot of great resources there for you. Today, you know, we'll just go ahead and say price EMA, or let's do EMA here. We're going to make a screen that looks for a stock near its 21 EMA, so within a nice range there. We'll say let's do the 21 EMA. Let's do a range from -4 to 4, so between 4% below to 4% above the 21 EMA. And then let's go ahead.
I think you put 100 instead of 4.
Yeah, so in order to edit it, what you do is click here, and let's go ahead and do -4. It's hard for me to see here.
You don't need to type negative again because it's already negative.
Yeah,
so I'll just
go ahead.
4
and then 4. Yep.
And a 4.
Yep.
Enter.
There we go. And now it updates there over here. And we also get live results over here on the left-hand side. And we're going to add an OR group to this screen as well to make sure that the stock has been strong recently. So an OR group is additional logic that you can apply to your screen that allows you to combine different criteria to say that the stock either will pass through if it meets this criteria or another criteria. So for instance, a lot of people have different screens that look for earnings growth greater than 30%. Then they have to make a whole nother screen that also looks for sales growth over 30%. In Deepvue, you can combine that into one group here. So the stock, basically the filter will return either of those values. So either earnings growth or sales growth. So we'll go ahead and do that for you. So let's do EPS growth. I can't type here. EPS growth. We'll go ahead and do latest quarter. And that's EPS reported. EPS growth is down here, latest quarter. Let's do greater than 30%. Add that. And let's do now sales growth percent, and have that also be greater than 30%. So what makes this unique is you don't need to make two different screens to look for these two different items. Basically how this works is the stock, in order to show up in the screen, the stock must meet this criteria and this criteria, but then going into this layer, it only needs to meet one of these criteria to pass through. So that's a very simple representation of basically the and or filter system that can allow you to combine multiple screens, save you time. I know a lot of people look for 3 weeks tights and a different pattern. That allows you to basically do that here in Deepvue. Anything you want to add on the and or filters, Rye? We've got many different resources there for you as well to walk through this explanation.
No, I think it enables a lot of creativity. We have a lot more planned, obviously, for the next iterations of this. But just learning the fact that the OR capability and what it allows you to do, it's worth your time to spend 10, 15 minutes to get to see exactly how it works, because you'll have a ton of ideas on how you want to scan, and you could combine different screens into one. Where for my routine, I run the highest volume screen, and I could search 3 screens or 4 screens into one criteria, and I just flip through those stocks all in one screen, which is what the OR capability allows you to do at the end of the day. So it's
definitely very powerful. And just to showcase that, we'll go through a few of the presets that we've got. So let's go down Deepvue. Let's load the tight range screen here. This is one we've developed to look for those tight areas here. Let's edit that screen. And you can see we've got some basic criteria here looking for whether it's in a trend, whether it's above the 200-day moving average, average dollar volume. Is it a fast mover, ADR? I know a lot of people like this data point. Then RMV is a proprietary data point that we've developed that allows you to basically look for tightness in charts. The closer to 0 RMV is, the tighter the price action is relative to that period. So in this case, 15 days. Whereas if it's closer to 100, then there's been recent price expansion and it's gotten really volatile. So under 10 is getting very, very tight. And then down here, we're looking for either over the last 5 days, it hasn't made much of a percent gain. So basically it's forming a range, or we've got double inside days going on. So these are 2 different ways to define a recent tight range. So that's what this basically preset allows you to do. And just going through these different names, you can see a lot of different tight areas show up. Ryan, maybe you could spacebar through a few of these names.
Yeah,
so Airbnb is right here. So that's a great example. We've got, look at these all forming tight ranges over the past few days. And this is a great sign of both accumulation, as well as it can be a really good entry tactic as well to see these different tightening areas, whether it's up the right-hand side of a chart or it's after a stock has already broken out. So that's a pretty good showing of the tight range there. It's a great way to save your time. You've never really been before able to scan for tight areas and VCP patterns. And now with RMV, you can in Deepvue, which is pretty cool. All right. So, Rye, if you want to walk through the deep list, and maybe to start with from screener adding stocks to a deep list, I'll run through a bunch of the questions and try to answer as many as I can through text.
Yeah, so with the screener table, obviously the symbol column is most important. You want to know what stock you're on. So a few things. For example, if I want to add Duolingo, there's a shortcuts menu that we have. So any logo that you see here, it's not just here to look pretty. So the fact that you could click the logo and it gives you a quick access menu. So within the quick access menu, you have a few things. You can add it to any watch list that you want, and you can add it to multiple. So if I want to add this particular stock, let's do DUOL. I want to add it to my, let's say, let's do that, add to my long watch and my favorites, then I could go ahead and do that. And it's now added to both of these. Now, the neat feature that I like here is if I come back to it and it's already added to one of my watch lists, it's going to alert me that it's already part of your favorites. It's already part of your long watch. So I could go ahead and remove it from multiple watch lists as well. The other feature that we have is you could move it to different watch lists, or you could create a new deep list and then add it to that particular watch list as well. The third is you could just copy it to your clipboard. So you click copy, it will be part of your clipboard now on your Windows or Mac. And then the fourth is you could create an alert. When you create an alert, it's going to say, are you trying to create a price alert? Rises above, falls below. We'll get into alerts a little bit later, and you could create an alert from this quick access menu as well. The other thing at the very top that you see is we have a global flagging system. So you can have these blue, red, purple, green, and orange, what we call target flags. And a lot of people love to organize their stocks this way, where I have my focus list, my focus list is always my blue list, my HV list is my red, my IPOs are purple, and my HTFs are green, and the ETFs are orange. So I like to organize based on these target flags, and this is a really quick way for me to know, hey, I already, when you add it to a particular target list, I know that this purple for me means that it's part of my IPO. So the logo around this will get a purple target. And I already know that Coursera is also part of my IPO list. So it has this purple outline target around the logo itself. So that's one way to add things very quickly to different deep lists and to different target lists if you choose to use this. This, again, is a very powerful functionality. It's worth spending a little bit of time because that's kind of how I organize my focus lists. And very easily, when I'm scanning the platform, I could tell that, hey, I already have this on one of my lists.
Can I jump in for a second?
Yes.
Yeah. So just to explain another, use case for the colored list, you could, for instance, every quarter run a screen looking for earnings growth over 40% and add all the results of that list to, say, your purple list. And then going forward for that next quarter, whenever you're running another screen or reviewing individual stocks, if it's in that purple colored list, right away that it's got really good earnings growth. So it's another way to kind of organize things and, leave a note for yourself to, that this stock is pretty special. Personally, I use the colored list to have my daily focus list, my weekly focus list, my kind of wider list, my leaders list, and then also I have a colored list for all the ETFs that I like to review to identify, rotation, that type of thing. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, and then the other way you can add it to different watch lists, you could use the checkbox method where you can select multiple ones, and then you press plus, and then you can add it to any of your deep lists or create a deep list and add it to that new deep list that you've created. You could also obviously copy, if I want to copy all of these to my clipboard and take them somewhere else, you're more than welcome to do that with this, and then I can always carry them manually to my deep list if I so choose to do that. There are two other things that I'll cover with respect to the table and the symbol column. So with earnings season, when they arrive, you will see a whole bunch of these flags that will pop up. A red flag tells you that the earnings for this stock are within are confirmed and relatively soon. So that's something to pay attention to. So December 5 is right around the corner. It's about 7 days or less away. And that's when this particular flag will turn red. So you know right away that there's earnings that are coming up for this stock, and you're aware of those earnings as well. The second symbol that you will see is this kind of stacked coins, which is basically the ex-dividend date for that particular symbol. If it's applicable to that symbol, this will show up. And then when you hover over it, it will tell you the ex-dividend date for that symbol. The third type, if I'll X out of this, that I want to show is this, what we implemented and what we call ETF holdings. So when you see a H symbol next to this column over here, this means that this ETF has holdings, and when you click on them, we will load the holdings for that particular ETF. So APPU is a Apple 1.5 shares ETF, and that's why the only holding for this particular ETF is Apple. And when you X out of it, you go back to the screener table. And let's say, for example, I type in SPY, because a lot of people tend to track that. You see the H symbol next to SPY, you SPY, you click it, and now these are all the holdings that are within the S&P 500. We update our holdings once a day. So every day you're receiving the most updated weighting and the most updated holdings within that particular ETF. And we will shortly in the next week or two add a column that will allow you to sort by the weight as well. So if Apple is 20% or 10% of the S&P, then there will be a column here for you to sort by the weighting as well. So those are the three different kind of symbols or icons that we have: the earnings, the dividends, and the holdings. And all three of them are kind of key visuals for you to know right away that, there are earnings coming up, there's a dividend coming up, or this ETF has holdings that you could then drill down and do top-down analysis on. The last bit is the visibility settings. You could always, if you don't want to see earnings dates, for whatever reason, you could turn them off, and you save that setting to the server level. So you log in from another device, what have you, it's always saved. And if you don't want to see X dividends, you can always toggle these two off. And shortly, we will also add a toggle if you don't want to see the holdings, then you could go ahead and turn that off. The idea behind allowing you to do this is some people do want to do it, and the platform that we're building is for you guys. It's not for our personal preferences. So if you so choose to do this, that setting is here. So that's pretty much the screener table. We covered data columns. We covered how to create a new screen, the and/or functionality, the presets, how presets are also coming to the data panel, and folders are also coming. The last bit of it on the screener for me is the sharing to X. So you could connect your account, your X account or your Twitter account to Deepvue, and when you click it, what it does is it prepares a screenshot for you to post onto the social media platform, and you could type in any message. Right, you could type in any message. You could toggle these different settings. So you can say that I only want to post the chart, or I want to post the screener table, the data panel, whatever I have up, and you can click post to X, and that is posted to X right away. So that is, another functionality for you to share your analysis if you so choose to do that. Another thing we have is you can copy symbols. We should probably update this to X. Copy symbols to clipboard, export to a CSV, and export to Excel. So if you want to run a screen, for example, I run this, and I want to export the results of this screen to a Excel file. It's going to download it for me and save it to my computer. It will take all the data points that you have active and do an export of all of these. We do have some restrictions just to make sure that people are not just exporting the entire database of 11,360 symbols and over 500 or over 1,200 data columns. So we do have certain restrictions for those exports, but this again, for most and normal use cases, you can export to CSV or Excel. So that's pretty much about the screener. I think we could move on to deep list unless you have, Richard, any questions that we could answer.
No, I think I've been answering a bunch of them. Can you show how to use the checkboxes to add stocks to a different deep list if you haven't already? So if you check these boxes, you can then use the icons at the top to add it to any deep list that you have already created, or the icon to the right of that just copies the symbols to your clipboard, and then you can share on Twitter or use them however you would like. And it's just nice, quick functionality. Really speeds up the routines to be able to use those bulk select checkboxes. Pretty much for me, during my routines, I like to go through the Deepvue universe list or whatever my wider list, select stocks as I go, their checkbox, and then I basically have a watch list that I've created for that week that I then add all those results to. Yeah, so do you want to run through the deep list module, Rye?
Yes, let's switch to that. So I'll go over the navigation of the deep list module. It's fairly simple. So we have, again, our global search at the very top. This is one of the common things you will see across the application. Next, you have a big plus button. So if I'm on a deep list or a watch list and I want to add a symbol to that, I go ahead and click that plus button. And I can then add a symbol. Let's say I want to add Home Depot. I click that, add it, click add, and that will get added right here. Home Depot is added. If I want to go ahead and delete, for example, right? If I click this and I want to delete it, there's two ways you could do that relatively quickly. You could use the checkbox method and you'll see that the menu up here changes and you can now go ahead and delete it. Or you can go ahead and click this quick access menu that we spoke about and delete it that way as well. And that's what it does, is it will delete. And I just noticed a bug. It should delete right away and it doesn't, but we'll get that fixed. It should be deleting right away, but those are kind of the two ways that we delete. You could delete symbols from a particular deep list. The second thing you want to be aware of at the very top is that the alerts are built in as a deep list. So all your alerts that you set globally, whether you're in the screener, you're in the deep list, anywhere in the platform, all the alerts that you set will be showing up here. So let's say we add an alert on DUOL, and let's draw an alert. So if I want to say, I want to see when this stock goes above this, right? Rises above this, and I could just say it's going above the 225 spot. So I can receive alerts through email, SMS, or pop-up. There are three different ways. The pop-up is within the application. The email is to the email that you signed up with. And then the SMS is the phone number that you have in your account settings. If I click create, we now have our first alert created right here. And within the alerts, you could see a few different things. You could see the status of the alert, if it's on or off. You could easily turn it off. When you do, the line will turn gray. You turn it on, the line will turn back to orange, meaning that it's active. You could see the date that you created the alert at and what time, what type of alert it is, the notes that you made on that alert, and then you can add any data point column that is available in Deepvue. So if I want to know the EPS rating, the RS rating, etc., all of these will be added right.
It's 8 o'clock.
Right here for you to see next to the alerts that you've set. So that's, alerts within a deep list. There's two types of alerts you could set. You could set price alerts or trend line alerts. Conditional alerts are in the pipeline and will be available likely in January at some point. The next thing I want to bring your attention to is just the menu at the very top here. So all of these are you could drag them around. So if I want my focus list to be my first deep list that I have, and then my HV, you could drag and drop these and makes the interface very responsive and very easy to manage. You can also, we have this drop down where you could create a new deep list. Let's say we create a new deep list and we call this demo deep list. We press enter. So now you've created a demo deep list. It shows up right here. And let's say you want to delete that demo deep list. You could rename it. If you named it incorrectly, click that. Now it's renamed. You hover over and it tells you, or you could delete this deep list by just clicking those three dots and deleting that because you're kind of done with it. So that's the navigation at the very top. Obviously, we have the target flags, what we call them, like the blue, the red, the purple, the green, and orange. Those are available right here. If you don't want to use these, let's say, you don't want to use these target flags. Some people tend to go that way. You can always drag in the most important ones to the left, and these will automatically kind of get hidden in the dropdown as well. So you can always manage the top of this as, whichever way you think is best for you. With respect to the other options that we see, there's obviously export. You can export your deep list. You can share the charts to X, which is the exact same, and then you could have the multiple charts as well. So if I go to multiple charts now, Airbnb and all of these, and I could load the multiple chart view for your deep lists as well. So that's not restricted just to the screener module. It's application wide as well. The screener table works the same exact way as it would in, this particular table on the left kind of works the exact same way. When you click, let's say I go to my focus, waiting for the API, let's refresh. I go to my focus. So the quick access menus are always available for you to, it's the exact same as the screener. So a lot of the functionality that we have in the screener module carries over to the deep list, and it's kind of talking to each other. So these holdings that we had, or the X dividend icons, or the earnings flags, they all carry over. And then also the column settings that we spoke about also carry over. So you could assign a column set to your deep list and it saves. And then we also have, the resizing and all the data points that you could add. So a lot of this carries over from the screener, and then this acts as your watch list module. Richard, anything I missed or should talk about?
No, I think the color list, can help save you a lot of time, as well as the universe list, which combines all your watch lists into one. And, there's always, that dilemma when you have to go through hundreds of stocks and then you might see the same stocks again. Using the universe list just allows you to go through all that long list of stocks just once. So that's definitely a big time saver when it comes to the deep lists. No,
Yeah, I always have my universe next to my focus, because I use, for the first half hour, I'm focused on the stocks that I think have potential. And then I switch to my universe and I'm kind of tapping through, because it takes all your different lists and it puts all those symbols in one list for you. So it gives you a really good idea of how the market's acting.
Yeah.
So,
Rye, there's a question about how far back our data goes, and maybe you can talk about, how it's intraday data as well as, real-time data during the day.
So, with the subscription, you get access to real-time data from all exchanges. There's no extra cost associated with it. There's no add-on to get. There's nothing. It's part of your subscription. So that's one. In terms of how far back the data goes, as of today, it goes back 22 years. So we have 22 years of data. Obviously, we're always working to make that 22 closer to 50 years of data. Over time, we will add those capabilities. With respect to one of the things, there's no limit on the number of bars that you could load within the charts. So, for example, I want a 5-minute chart to go back 6 months from now. You could look at a 5-minute bar 6 months ago in the charting module. So it's fully capable of doing that. We store that data on our own servers, and that data is available for you to view. So if you want to study a breakout back in, March of 2022 on AFRM, on a 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, any, smaller time frame, those bars are available and part of the subscription as well. With respect to the number of alerts, you get 400 concurrent alerts. So I can set 400 server-side alerts at the same time and receive email, SMS, or in-app notifications for those alerts as well. So deep lists, in terms of the number of stocks you could add to your deep list, there's really no limit on the number of deep lists you could create. It's entirely up to you. There's no limit on the number of screens that you could create. It's completely unlimited. No limits on number of indicators you could add to your charts. No limit on number of layouts you can create within the charting module. So it's really a very flexible, there's no limitations. There's no pro plan or premium plan. It's just you get everything that we have to offer with this one subscription.
There's a question from Paul, which I think is good to address. Hey guys, can you touch on differences between Deepvue and IBD's MarketSmith program and why you think Deepvue might be a better or easier for us? I think what we offer differently is very simple. Everything is much more customizable and powerful. Just looking at the charting aspect of Deepvue, the ability to have multi-chart view, multi-timeframe view, screen in and out, I think is a much better experience than being locked into one view of price action. It allows you to get a lot tighter with your entries and all of that. MarketSmith also is not relatively real time. Our charting is, so you're not really able to trade off a MarketSmith chart. I think that's clear. Our data panel and data columns are much more powerful and flexible. In MarketSmith, you're kind of locked into that one singular view where you do have fundamental and technical data together, but maybe you don't like to refer to a single data point, or you want to add something in Deepvue, you're able to do that. In MarketSmith, you're not. In addition, all the different indicators that we have in the platform, from MACD, stochastic, all the proprietary indicators as well, that's just not possible in MarketSmith at the moment. And I think the biggest difference is really our commitment to always innovating and bringing new features and modules to the platform. While MarketSmith, they haven't really made any updates. And our number one goal is to really listen to the community, what you guys want. We have the roadmap there that people vote on, and we work very hard to implement as many of those submitted feature requests as possible into the platform. So 1 year from now, Deepvue is going to be even better than it is right now. That's a commitment to always bringing the best that we can and creating a tool that can help save you time, find the best stocks faster, and trade easier. So I think very simply, our commitment to developing new features and bringing new things to the table is definitely something that sets us apart.
Yeah. So I would say, just to add on, there's just, our goal with this is complete flexibility, a tool that caters to all styles, but is also specialized enough to cater to the very growth-based crowd that MarketSmith has. And then that's why one of the goals for us into the end of the year is to, from a data point perspective, to have one-to-one mapping so that we could put that to bed and move on to bigger and better things that we feel we could accomplish. In the future of Deepvue, obviously, we're going to add journaling. We're going to add a
trade analytics, all that.
Trading analytics module. We're going to have a fully flexible dashboard that's coming out in about a week and a half to 2 weeks from today. And all those capabilities are kind of the way we've planned them is to make sure that Deepvue is a product in its own class. So the elevator pitch is, think of it as a TC2000, TradingView, a MarketSmith, combined together in one platform, but they all talk to each other at the same time. If that gives you a clear picture. And that's what our goal is at the end of the day. And we're going to do it kind of in our own way and kind of build that ecosystem module by module. But you'll see us, over the next many months and quarters, make a whole bunch of progress towards that and make it a reality. So comparisons to the MarketSmith will always be there, but I think by the end of this year, we will put that to bed and kind of move on to bigger and better things, which we feel we can accomplish with Deepvue. So,
Yeah, do you want to mention the dashboard module? Because that's a really exciting thing. That's kind of our next big feature that we'll be adding. And we've been doing QA testing of it, and it's getting closer. We still have some work to do. But yeah,
Let me know.
here's
Do you see my screen right now
yeah,
with this?
yeah, we see staging. So this is the dashboard module, and Ryan, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So we know, obviously we test everything that we do. And we've been testing our dashboard module. So here's a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming with the dashboard module. It's basically a fully flexible grid for you to add and shape screener, deep list, and the many apps that we will be adding over the next couple of months to the dashboard. So the way it works is it's complete. If I want to add a couple of charts, I could do that by adding many different charts to it. If I want to add a screener and then combine that with a deep list that I am watching, and then have my stats table be at the very bottom. So it's basically a very flexible grid that allows you to place, resize, right? And do anything. It's almost like a playground for your style of trading. So if I want to, the second capability we will have is obviously you can have different dashboards. We'll have many more different apps that are available. And the capabilities of the screener, the deep list, will all carry over with respect to, the different shortcut menus, the selection boxes, anything that you're doing and saving within your screener and deep list, they will all carry over. And it's basically a fully flexible grid. Some of the planned updates that we have is we're going to add economic calendars, heat maps, news app from briefing with respect to the market color, a position sizing, a position sizing calculator that we've spoken about. So a lot of this is going to be, things are going to start to kind of shape up in a big way with respect to the dashboard, and giving you the flexibility to have different dashboards that you could trade off. Maybe you have your weekend routine. You could have a very specific dashboard that you load up, and now you have your screens loaded up. The 4 screens you tab through, and you have your charts on the left, and you do that. Or you can have one for your when the market is open, you want to have a very specific dashboard for that. So dashboard will enable all those capabilities, and allow you guys to be creative at the end of the day as well.
And I saw a few questions about multi-monitor support. The screener module and deep list module, it's really designed for you to be focused on that in the moment, those functionalities. But with the dashboard, you'll be able to load one dashboard on this monitor, another dashboard on this monitor. Maybe you've got a market monitor dashboard over here where you've got the indexes always on. You've got some breadth data, while over here you've got your different stocks. So you'll be able to load that up independently on 2 different monitors using this. Another really cool thing about this is you're able to link different groups together. So you can see the blue grouping here on both the watch list as well as the deep list. That links the charts together. So that deep list and that screener is linked to the blue group, while you're also able to load another chart, switch that color over to orange or green, whatever. And then you've got 2 different independent systems, which allow you to monitor stocks, that much faster. So maybe you've got your overall watch list in the blue group, then you've got your daily focus list in orange or red. You're able to do that much more in the dashboard that you can't really do in the screener or deep list module. So this is something that I'm really excited about. I know Rye is excited about this, just so he can have his deep list to the right-hand side of his charts. He's been wanting that for a while, but this will be really cool and unlock a lot of possibilities of the platform.
Perfect. Yeah. So dashboard, we're testing, we're working through it, and a lot of user acceptance testing internally, and we think we could get it closer to having it released and on production in about a week and a half to 2 weeks from today. So there's a question about, will Deepvue develop a feature to display performance chart group? Basically the performance momentum charts we have over at Traderline, yes, they will be moved over, and they will be available. And also one of the heat maps that we have, the momentum calendar, will also be available in Deepvue.
Do you want
Let's
to
see.
touch on a few other things that are coming in the next few months, Rye?
Yes, the biggest things that we will be working on is obviously the presets are going to be huge to get chart presets. So the exact layout that some of the top traders use, the exact data panels that some of the top traders use, the exact screens that some of the top traders use. Shareability is going to be key. So the ability for me to share watch lists with you is also in the works. Mobile applications, that's the biggest one that we're already tackling. And by the end of January, we will have iOS and Android applications. That's something we're working towards into the holiday to try to finish those and get them filed with the app with Apple and Google, so they go through their approval process. What else are we working on? New dashboard apps, like I spoke about, the heat map, the economic calendar.
Formula Builder.
Formula Builder will be mid-February. We will start working on our Formula Builder, finish that by about end of March, and then start focusing on trade analytics module and journaling aspect and introducing that. We have many great ideas around that as well. So a lot, yeah, there's a lot happening. We're always, working on new things. We're actively, I would say, listening to what you guys have to say and what you guys want in the platform. We have a full roadmap that people can go and upload on. So if you go here, you can request a new feature, or you could see, one of the top ones that we have is dedicated iOS and Android apps. We will get that done by end of January. The net new high lows and alpha indicators, they are being worked on and will be done before the end of the year. The Formula Builder, which is another top one that we have, we will start working on in February. So a lot of these Deep Dash, which is the dashboard module, which is about to be released in about a couple of weeks. So a lot of these are all user requested features that we have, and we take the topmost ones, the top voted ones, and put all of our efforts behind those so we could get those done quicker and then move on to other things that users want. So it's a platform that's being actively built, and we're actively listening to the folks that are signing up.
Yeah, there's some questions about international markets. Could you provide some insight into when we're looking to incorporate those? Right now, our focus is the U.S. markets, but we know that many people are interested in different markets, the Indian market, the European markets as well.
Yeah, global market support is something we will start working on in early February. Our focus, obviously, right now is all behind the dashboard and the iOS and Android apps. Once we put those behind us, then we will start allocating resources to bring in the Indian markets, the European and the Australian, also the Canadian market. So those will be the first four markets that we have in Deepvue. And then there's also a remote possibility to just go global all at once, but that's something we're always working towards. So it's something that we will start working on, and I think we can accomplish by early Q2 to mid Q2 next year.
Perfect. And as of right now, the annual deal for Cyber Monday is still valid. I'll post the link to that in the chat if you're interested. But right now, I think we can answer a few questions, and I've already been answering. I've answered over 50 already. Let's see here. Is this recorded? This is. We'll be uploading and sending out the recording of this later this week. There's a few questions about industry groups and seeing their different performance changes. Maybe you could run through what we're looking to bring there, Rye, as well as show off your ETF list if you have this in this version.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to have industry symbols. That's the biggest thing that we want to accomplish there, is to have dedicated symbols that you can then historically plot very easily. So our industry ranking system will also be based on that. So I think by mid-January that's something that we want to accomplish, where you click on an industry symbol and then you could see what that industry symbol is composed of. And then also our industry ranking systems will also be based on that. We will be using the GICS classification system. It's the most popular industry classification system that is available. A lot of ETFs in their prospectus tend to classify themselves into that industry classification. Obviously, there are others that are available, but that one is the most robust, and that's how we will do our industry classification as well. It's a lot more aligned with the current market structure and how things work. Whereas the opposite method or the dated method is to go and classify them yourselves and keep up to date manually, which was good back in 1985, but it's not sufficient for 2023. So that's what we will be doing there, and I think we'll have that in the platform by mid-January to end of January.
And I've seen a few questions about where we get our data and the accuracy of the data, if you want to touch on that as well.
Yeah, so our fundamental data and our estimates are from FactSet. Our historical EPS sales data is from Zacks. Our price data, or you want to call it price data in terms of price and volume, is from NASDAQ. Those are some of the biggest providers that we've partnered up with to kind of put these things together and have them talk to each other.
Yeah, and quickly, I want to run through a bit of the support system that we have in place to help you guys get onboarded and able to use the full capabilities of Deepvue. First things first, as we already mentioned, if you click the help module down in the bottom left, you've got access to the knowledge base, which has many different articles, videos that I've recorded there for you. You can see them organized there. In addition to this, if you go to deepvue.com/webinars or click that in the help menu, if you could do that, Rai, this includes all the subscriber tutorials there that we've archived, that we do every single week. And every single Thursday, Rai, Tyler, or myself run through a particular topic, whether it's building a screen in Deepvue, scanning for VCPs in Deepvue, setting up your chart in Deepvue. We run through a specialized tutorial that runs through that topic that hopefully gets you a deeper understanding into how to do that in Deepvue and make use of all the different tools that we have. And also at the end of that, we'll try to answer as many questions as we can live, similar to what we're doing today. So we've got a lot of resources there for you. In addition, if you run into any issues, you can either email us at hello@deepvue.com or just message us right here. We'll respond pretty quickly. I do my best to follow up, within 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes or so. Sometimes I respond within a few minutes there. But if you do report that, you can record your screen, send over a screenshot, show us if there's a bug you're experiencing. We'll try to work on that and pass that on to our devs as quickly as possible. And also you can, of course, basically, in addition to reporting an issue, submit a feature request. I see Mike out there in the audience. He's submitted about 50 feature requests, which is great. So please do that. We want to have your feedback as much as possible. So submit feature requests. Again, we want to listen to you and help create Deepvue and transition it to becoming your ideal trading platform. So that's a little bit on the support side and the resources that you have available to help you get the most out of Deepvue.
Perfect. I do see a question from Mark. I think he's asked it multiple times. Is Deep List updated in real time, but the screener results on a set time? No. Deep Lists are updated real time, and screeners are also updated real time. So it's all real time. So if I make a particular screen, let's say I make this screen a Deep List, and I go to my Deep List module, and I now have RMB2, this updates real time. So if there are more results that are happening when the market's open, this will update and populate real time. real time as in per second. So every second it will go fetch and do a scan, come back and say, okay, is it still 1462 stocks or is it now 1450? So it's all real time.
Yep. And do you want to show pre and post market data and how to switch that? Because that's also a really nice feature in Deepvue.
Yeah, so we obviously have capability of scanning the pre-market, scanning the post-market, scanning the regular market. A lot of folks would just have this on automatically, and then when the market closes at 4, automatically the screener would switch to post-market data. Some people like to control it, so you could turn the automatic setting off, and then go to regular market only, and then scan whichever market that you prefer. The second setting that we have at the bottom here is the chart data settings. It's regular or extended. So if I want to see the 5-minute chart, let's say of PLTR today, so this is the post-market data of how PLTR acted post-market. This is how PLTR acted pre-market, and this is how PLTR acted regular market. So the pre-market gets a yellow shade. The regular market gets whatever shade that you have for your chart settings, and then the post market gets this blue shade. I don't want to see extended market data. I only want to see regular market data. You could turn that off, and now you see regular market data only on a 5-minute chart. And if I want to see extended market data, I could do that as well. And the neat part is you could go back in time more than you think. I think it's up to a year of pre and post market data that is available in the platform. So if something happened on earnings on some day, that you want to go study in the past year, you could go ahead and do that by toggling on the extended setting, and it will show you the exact price action, volume, etc. As you go back in time. So I will confirm that, but I'm pretty sure it's up to 1 year that we're storing in our databases. That's pre-post market. Any other questions? I see. How do you measure the Weinstein stages? We did a course with Stan Weinstein. We worked with him for over, I think, like 6 weeks to 8 weeks, if not more. And we learned a lot about stage analysis. So we took that and coded much of the stages, and you could add them as data points like I have here. So Weinstein stages, PLTR is in a stage 2. You could add it as a data column. You could scan for our whole database and say, show me stocks that are in stage 2. And you're able to do that. So that's how you measure, that's how we've integrated stage analysis. We also have a dedicated blog on that goes over step by step. We have an indicator, we have data columns, and we have screenable data points, all for stage analysis. I have to log in every time I load Deepvue. Is there a way to have the system remember me? That's not an issue we are aware of. If you're experiencing that, file a ticket, and I'm pretty sure we'll look into it right away and see what's going on. That's not something we've heard from any users as of today. Difference between 2 and 2A, just Google stage analysis Deepvue. There's a blog on it. We cover exactly word for word what the difference is between the 2A, which is an early stage 2, and stage 2 is a confirmed stage 2. When will SMS alerts work? We have filed for a toll-free number that gives us access to global SMS, and we expect to hear from them in the next few days. As soon as that's done, alerts in different regions of the United States will start working. Global alerts are already working. For example, we have a couple of subscribers in Kenya, Germany, Poland, Norway, Zimbabwe, South Africa. All those work. They're all being delivered. We're just waiting for some approval on some of the states in the United States where the carriers have put in new restrictions to make sure that numbers are always registered. So we're just waiting to hear back from them.
There's a question on reviewing past market data. So if you go back to a daily chart and just show the calendar where you can scroll back in time, this is great for reviewing, past stocks. You can enter a date or a custom range, go back to that date. And in addition, you can basically use your arrow keys to go back and forth and play it bar by bar to run through different stocks. So this capability is there. And we're also going to work on improving this as well. But it's a great way to review past trades, as well as past trades that you could have taken if you were trading back in that time. You can go back all the way to the Google IPO base and take a look at what that was looked like. And yeah, so definitely a really handy feature. Let's see here. Answered that. Right. Any other key questions that you saw here that we haven't addressed yet? Mike says, scrolling stats table Deepvue list. Important to share this. In addition to using the scroll bar, you can use the 2-finger slide both on the Mac and Windows tracking pads for both horizontal and vertical scrolling. Yep, that's definitely super helpful.
Can stage basing number be identified in Deepvue? That's a good question. I'm assuming you're talking about the William O'Neill stages. That's definitely something we should work on. And
yeah, we're currently working on more pattern recognition type functionality that's currently ongoing and will be added as different indicators that you can add to your charts.
The best way to use Webby tools, there's a lot of webinars that he's done. We will have a dedicated blog on all the Webby indicators and how to best use them. And then at some point, we will also have him on for a webinar to cover those indicators himself. So we will do that in the next few weeks and months.
Yeah. Mark asks, what is the best browser to use Deepvue in? I would recommend Chrome. That's the most optimized and just the best. I know we've had some issues with users in Safari, so definitely would recommend Chrome as the go-to.
Can there be a screen for stocks breaking out today? That's a good idea. Richard, that's probably something that we can work on for a preset. Right?
Yep.
Let's do that. I'm just writing it down. Can I develop a percentage above MAs as shown in can I technical? Oh, yes, you can have percent above 10, 21, 50 to 100. You could scan for those versus SMA or EMA. Both of those capabilities are available.
Yeah, and I know MarketSmith has you click on a different bar and it shows a percent above the MAs. That's not available, but that's something we can look to add as a future indicator.
This is a good one. Is there a preset screen for sector ETFs? So deep list presets are coming soon in the next week or so, and deep list presets will have these dedicated lists that we build for you. So we'll have like a sector ETF list that you could just use right off the bat. So we'll have some of these deep list presets available in the next week or two. You can screen for them by going to just creating a new screen, filtering for ETFs, but we will have customized lists that are coming up as well. I think we answered this one.
Alerts on MAs and VWAPs. Currently, you're able to set alerts using trend lines as well as price levels, but in future iterations, we'll allow you to set alerts at those moving averages and other key levels, key indicators.
How to import lists? That's a good question, and we didn't cover that. Very easy. So let's say I want to, let's just copy these symbols to my clipboard. So what I have on my clipboard right now is these symbols that I fetched from anywhere. Doesn't matter. Could be Twitter with hashtags, could be comma separated list, could be any format. So what we've done is, let's say I want to add the symbols to this deep list. This deep list is empty. It has 0 stocks. I press plus. I just paste whatever I have in my clipboard. Could be from a CSV file, Excel file. Just copy the list of symbols, paste them, and it automatically detects whatever it is in your clipboard, whatever format it is, it will look for those stocks in the database and automatically select and have them for you right here. And it's the easiest way you can import. There's no, do I need to upload a CSV? Do I need to upload an Excel file? There's none of that. It's just you copy the list of symbols you want to import. You simply paste it in this box after you click plus up here. Add new symbol shows up. You simply paste it. You can right click and paste it as well, and it will automatically detect those symbols. So we've made this very easy for you to do rather than uploading different files and all of that stuff.
From Lane, how about running a screen on the imported lists? That's something we're working on, being able to include, exclude different lists in the screener. So for instance, you've got your universe list, which you've manually created, then being able to run a screen on that deep list. I think that's really powerful functionality that we're currently working on. We're also thinking about being able to creating a custom universe watch list, so you can decide which screen results or which watch list you want to incorporate into a master list. Basically, you could include some, you could exclude some, maybe see, how often a particular stock shows up on multiple lists. We're also thinking of ways to do that because that would save a lot of time during routines and help you identify those top stocks that much faster.
There's a question on industry groups. There's a whole bunch of questions on industry groups. So if you want to see the top industry groups, all you do is you search industry group rank. That will show up right at the bottom right here. Let's say I want the top stocks in the top 15 industry groups. Hit that 15, you add it, and now you have all the stocks that are in the top 15 industry groups right here. And you can review these stocks by space barring through or arrow down. So the industry group rank under proprietary ratings is available for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and Richard wants to add 1 day and 1 week and 5 minutes as well, which will happen at some point in time. Mouse pointer needs to be okay. It's not a question. Will there be an additional charge for other markets, and will they be real time? I cannot answer that today. It will be very unethical of me to say yes or no because I don't know. But there will be additional support. What I can say is delayed data for global markets will be likely at no additional charge. Real-time data is very tough to do. If we provide global real-time data, and we are always this transparent, especially with our founders, if we provide global real-time data as part of the subscription, the price you're paying, we're going to be paying more per user. So in order to run a business, there will likely be an additional smaller fee, and we will try to minimize as much as possible through negotiations, as much as possible, so that it's not a big add-on if you want to go for global data. And this applies to a very small crowd. Let's say you want to add the German markets or European markets or whatever markets. It may be an additional cost. It may not be. I just don't know as of today. Do we have market update webinars and top stock webinars? We don't. We do on the TL side. We have one weekly. We call it the TML talk. I think that will be public in the next couple of weeks as well. So watch out for that on the trader line side. What is the data usage during market times? What is the data usage during open market times?
I think maybe memory or
yeah. I think they're referring to like if they have like a metered internet plan, how much data it's using. We can measure that and let you know. I don't think it's very large, or we've heard that concern before, but that's something definitely we can measure and maybe have a statistic on. We don't have one right now. It would be cool to add a screen for setups and edges. So we do have the highest volume screen. That's one of the edges that I look at. We do have a few setups like open equal to open equal to low, the kicker pattern.
candles. Yeah.
Yeah, all of those. So we do have some of those entry tactic type screens already. But if you have any additional ideas, please submit them through the feature roadmap. And we're pretty quick to get new ones that we've missed in there because they're very easy to configure for us. So.
Yeah, we have oops reversal. I know we're working on some of the strat patterns, two reversals, that type of thing. So we've got a lot already, and we'll be bringing those. We'll be adding more of those as we go.
Someone said you mentioned the stage base number as a data point. Where can I search or find this data point? Just search stage anywhere. So when you're creating a new screen, you search stage. It will go down, and now you could say, show me all stage 2 stocks that are in the top 15 industry groups, or you could just say, show me all stage 2 or 2A at the same time, or 3, or my favorite one for an oversold setup, the 4B minus. So show me a whole bunch of 4B. So this is screenable. If you want to add it to your data panel, you just click plus, you type in stage, Stan Weinstein stages, and this will show you the stage. And then when you click out, this stock is now in 4B minus, this particular stock, ARC. So that's how you do that. Really good question. Do you have a filter for stocks with weekly options? We should have a filter for stocks with weekly options. We don't have one right now. So that's a data point that we need to add. What's the difference between IBD's RS and Deepvue's RS ratings? Our RS rating is not that different from IBD's. I don't think, in terms of how we view like how a RS rating should be calculated, it's very similar, I would say. Obviously we have certain metrics that they might not have and we do, but ours is based on the opinions of Ross, his experience, what I've seen in the markets, and different master classes we've done, and etc. So it's kind of, you could think of it as a updated version of how relative strength should be looked at with the current market structure that's in place as of this decade, not a couple of decades ago. I tried some indicators. Some were easy to remove, but some weren't. Would it be possible to have an undo button? You could try. Definitely. There is an undo button right here. So there's an undo button and a redo button. So for example, let's say I add an indicator. I add 52-week high low. Whoops. And then I want to undo that. I can definitely undo that, but it looks like I can't do it with the indicators. So I'll get back to you. That's a question that Tyler can answer. If you could please submit.
You can always click an X on the indicator. So if you hover in the object tree over an indicator, in the object tree. Yeah, so next to moving average triple, something like that. Yeah, you can X out here. You can also X out under the symbol there, or if you go to the RS line top right and hover, you can top right. Yeah, you've got X there. You can also minimize it as well as maximize it if you'd like to. So that should always be there regardless of what indicator it is. So if you're having trouble with that, please let us know.
Perfect. Yeah, if I didn't answer your question, feel free to just submit a ticket and we'll get back to you.
Right, I think we should take one or two more here.
Yes, let's do that. Scan for stocks, that one's done. Do same symbol. I don't see. So time horizon on trading directly from charts. So that will happen sometime in Q2, Q3 next year, where you can connect to your brokers. We will do journal analytics and trade analytics and all of that stuff first, where you will connect your broker to Deepvue and we will import all your trades and all of that stuff. We'll do that first. And then we'll introduce a way to trade within Deepvue. And the honest answer to that is As we develop more, as we get more people through the door, we learn new things, we better our processes, and we will be much more confident as we scale to a level where we feel comfortable with people trading within the platform, because that needs very solid processes, very enterprise level type of the way we approach things. So that will naturally happen as we mature, and we also need to file with exchanges, etc., to get approvals from that perspective to allow that to happen as well. So that's kind of like a long-term goal. So it would be very dishonest of me to say that's coming right away, because it's not.
Yeah.
At least not till Q3 next year.
I see a question from Jesse about TradingView indicators. They're not cross-compatible, but if you submit a feature request, especially if you include the Pine script code, if there's enough demand for that indicator, we can get it added pretty quickly. So definitely do that if you have an indicator in mind. All right. So I think we can call it there, right? I think the last thing I'll say for everybody watching is, we remain committed to making this the dream software for everybody, but also ourselves. This is our daily driver that we trade off of. And I'm really excited about the features that we'll be introducing into the end of this year with dashboard, mobile app, as well as in Q1, getting the first iterations of journal, trade analytics, formula builder out there. I think will add a lot of functionality that doesn't exist right now, and we'll just be always focused on making this better and better. And hopefully you guys will join us for the ride. So thank you guys all for attending. Right, anything you want to leave everybody with?
No, I think there's a lot coming. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. We have a really good support team. Someone said we closed over 15,000 support tickets or something. So we're always there, available and ready. We have a Discord. If you've signed up already and you're not in the Discord, go to the welcome email that we send you as soon as you sign up. That's another way for you to get a hold of us and the team, me, Richard, Ross, Nick, and the full Deepvue team's in there to help you, in any way to navigate the platform, even during the day or after market hours, what have you. So looking forward to seeing many of you there. And I think it's a year from now when we do this at next Black Friday, you'll see a platform that's much worth your time, getting things over with respect to your deep list screeners, etc., ported over early. And the last bit is we feel like we'll surpass many of the expectations that people have, and add a lot more features over the next couple of quarters to the platform. So
yeah, we've seen a lot of positive feedback from the early adopters, and if you're not already one of them, definitely consider it. As we've mentioned before, we're working very hard every day to make this better. So with that, I think we'll call it today. Thank you guys all for joining us. We'll try to get this recording out as soon as possible, and we'll send out that link by email once we do. So thank you guys all for tuning in, spending a few hours with us. We hope you have a great rest of your evening. Take care.
have a good one. Bye.